Welcome back to CCRPG. We are returning to our pilots as they have just finished up their final repairs, getting ready to capture Lumir, Salacia, for the purposes of finding out what the heck is going on. We have a variety of clues and threads, and everything seems to lead through this Project Nucleus that they found out about, masked by the Project Rebirth planet resettling, planet fixing incentive that 3 of the big 6 megacorps have undergone together. But now that the players are picking at the loose threads that tie up the secret here, we are getting closer and closer to seeing what's really going on. On the DBC, our pilots approach the small, hidden in the shadow of the moon satellite above the moon's surface, known as Salacia, the planetary body Lumir that orbits E2705, hiding it from view. We are going to go back to our players and see what they're doing in the final moments before the assault begins. Who wants to start?
I actually have a question.
Absolutely.
I don't think we ever talked about this, but for people who took physical personal damage, are we topped off, or are we just... I figured out healing works for humans.
You go back to your full.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in pain, but...
Oh, yeah. The pain is always present. Such as real life.
Oh. Not true. I'll start.
Go for it.
All right. Well, after fixing the mechs, I decided to go back to the med bay to give Curry one last over, because probably not going to be able to do it for a while. Make sure he's okay, change his bandages, see if he's regained consciousness, which he may or may not. But overall, make sure that he's ready and or comfortable.
Yeah. As you're in the midst of administering your battery of tests and whatnot, he does rouse. He wakes up a little bit and blearily goes, Dyne. Hey.
You okay?
I feel like I've been hit by a truck. And then all the traffic behind the truck.
I mean, a bomb will do that. Or the equivalent of a bomb.
Is everyone okay?
Hit by the cracked cooling system. Yeah, we're okay. We made it out alive. And now we're going on to hopefully what'll be our last mission for this mission. So, gonna need you to stay here and recuperate.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem. I doubt I'd be able to do anything else right now. He winces to try and get up on one elbow, but can't, is gives up and just lays flat again. Just he was trying to look at you, but to talk, but then just gives up and then stares at the ceiling. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to move anymore. That sounds nice.
No problem.
Hey, good luck out there. Let's have a nice vacation after this, huh? Doesn't that sound nice for once?
That sounds excellent. I look forward to it. I walk over and grab some stems, and then I give him to him, and I go, I told this to Evelene, but only as a last resort.
Yeah, I don't think pushing my broken body around is gonna help too much anyway, so I'll keep him on hand just in case.
All right, you get some rest.
Is the expectation that Curry's not going to be maintaining the ship at all?
Pretty much.
What was
that? The only reason I say this is because I assume during the 10-hour downtime we had, or whatever amount of time we had, I also made this ship and I patched up the ship better.
Yes, I mean, I basically gave them to him as a last fucking resort.
Okay.
If he feels that it's absolutely necessary. Also, so here's the thing: if you guys remember, Dyne made that call to Sam, who basically requested get in contact with Jason. That Jason hasn't gotten back, and Dyne still feels super suspicious. So whether or not Curry realized it, his shotgun is currently in that room and loaded
Oh.
because Dyne is like he will let Curry know that it's there, but Dyne is still under the impression that something is wrong. None of his suspicions have been alleviated.
Okay.
It's just we haven't had a chance to address that because shit's been crazy. But that suspicion hasn't been alleviated yet.
Got it.
And the last thing, last session, well, not last session, but the session before, when I treated Curry, we determined that I had used the last of the correctives to stabilize him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing out my corrective for a thermite charge.
You got it.
Sheet. I don't know if I'll need it, but you never know, right?
Fair enough. I will. The reason I ask about Curry's condition is, what I'll do is I'll leave some notes, and maybe I'll hand them off to you, Dyne, to give to Curry. Like, here's what I did in case that you would need to do something about the ship. Like, here's what I fixed. Here's what hasn't been fixed. Just so he has something to start off with. Not that I expect him to do something, but I imagine he doesn't know what's happened in the time he's been knocked out.
I will hand him this light reading. This
Handwriting's
light
awful.
reading in Evelene's scribble, and let him translate it. Yeah, I know you almost died, but I need you to come into work on Monday, okay?
Yeah. Everyone walked in with some suspenders.
Hey, did you get that memo? You're supposed to be putting headers on all our TPS reports.
Evelene walks in, gives him the notes, gives him a can of tuna, walks out, says nothing. Doesn't even give him a can opener for the tuna.
That's because it's a paperweight. That's what
you
it's
did
there
give him
for.
a shotgun.
That's true. All right, that's pretty much all I need to do.
All right. Anyone else have anything they're doing before we see the assault take place?
I'm good.
Astro's is going to be on the bridge running some last minute checks, the diagnostics of the ship systems before he needs to head over to deploy from the mech hangar. And he's going to be like coordinating a little bit with Jess, making sure she has everything she needs, since she's going to be kind of a one woman show while we're out.
Yeah, I mean, she goes over a few last minute checklist items with you, just to be like, hey, there's this. Also, if you need access to this or that, I've now reorganized it to this and stuff like that. So she's just giving you a lowdown of how she's like set things up for her use.
Yep. All right, and then after a bit, he's like, okay, well, that's my time. I better go get ready, and he heads off to the hangar.
All right, and then Steve or Evelene, either of you have any last minute things you need to do?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well then, we head to the mech bay, as you all get set up in the mechs, it was decided that, you would call in the crew from the rebels who would kind of like charge in, try to take control of the area, and then you guys would come in as MCs, as mechanized cavalry, essentially. Help them mop up if any mopping up was necessary, and get you guys inside so that you have free reign over the space station itself. They made very clear they don't have the people or resources to invade the station with you. If you meet resistance inside the station, that will be up to you to deal with. But while you are doing that, they will hold the perimeter for you. They will take over the outer weapons, make sure you have a safe escape, all that kind of stuff. So the DBC approaches Lumir Salacia. You round the far outside of the moon, always facing E2705, or as some locals know it, Batuska. As your ship rounds the satellite, the planetary satellite, that is, not the man-made satellite, the sensors start picking up irregularities. Man-made buildings floating in the shadow of the moon. Some of them are what you expected, that are things that the Lev technologist was able to warn you about. But he didn't have the full picture. He didn't have that there are small but possibly very dangerous fleets roaming in this space. It's a large space. It's the entire shadow of a moon. And, space is big. It's easy to slip through if you know how to. But let's find out if you know how to. I want a pilot check to determine if the party can get to Lumir Salacia without being spotted by a patrol.
Okay. So
It can be any of the four of you. I just need the crew of the DBC to do something about making sure they don't get detected by patrolling Nucleus ships. Not until at least you've undergone your mission.
Okay. So I could. We're going to be flying past in 0G in the max, right?
Well, you need to get to Lumir Salacia anyway, as well as your rebel allies. They have an advantage that you guys don't have, so they aren't going to need to make this check. But getting the DBC within range of Salacia is going to require you to get around some patrols so that you can get to deployment.
I see. So we're trying to get past unnoticed in the DBC.
Yes.
To begin with. Let me think. Anyone have any good ideas? I might have one thought, which is that I could utilize Kubrick here to basically, like I was thinking I could plug him into the ship systems, and we can take advantage of his what do you call it, simulacrum ability, to sort of model this space control environment like around the ship. But I don't know if that makes sense, honestly. Like as I'm saying this, because like we know we'll be able to see like patrols. I'm sure we can like pick them up on radar or something. Simulacrum just helps you get visibility within an affected area and get information about whatever whatever ships or mechs are inside that area. And if
And
they're
remember,
hidden,
on
it's,
the magnitude we're talking about in terms of distance and scale, the area Kubrick can target is quite small.
yeah, that's true. Like if we were within that range, we'd already be like found out, probably. Um, um,
Well,
I don't
I
know. I
mean,
think maybe it, you know, if we're trying to get past the ships, I think Astro should head back to the bridge and just help Jess. Like he could be a second operator, like tracking the patrols and feeding information to her as she navigates past them.
well, I mean, if you still wanted to go the Kubrick angle, you could, if we already know where the patrols are, you could use Kubrick as a way to invade them and fragment their signal, or some other invade option that you think would distract them from their ability to detect us. That is, I think, is a reasonable option for Kubrick. Just
That's
using the ship's systems to give you greater range.
that's not a bad idea, but the other problem though is like they may not know it's coming from us. They may not detect us, but they're probably going to figure something's fucking with them, right? So the it might
I
raise their
know. I'm just
hackles.
saying.
Yeah,
That just seems more along the lines of what Kubrick could do.
yeah, no, definitely. Um, but I think Astro's probably going to lean towards like maybe slipping past them altogether. You know,
You do
but
have act unseen and unheard, right?
yes,
You could take an option to try and allow the ship to act more stealthily, like we did. We are moving on like a low energy, like we did prove that we can move like a low energy thing. You could try to do something like that.
like a silent running sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like I could head back up to the bridge. We can kind of go into like a silent running mode, and I could do like active monitoring of the space around us and feed information to Jessica as she navigates.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's going to be a roll, my friend.
It sounds like it. Act unseen or unheard.
Can I assist using read a situation, trying to pilot the ship in a looking out for threats that might not be seen?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do yours first.
Yeah.
And then see if we get an assist for COMET.
All right. No accuracy, inaccuracy, or anything?
No.
Damn, 9. So close.
You keep a lookout, but unfortunately, you don't add any new insights that COMET can leverage to get a accuracy on this.
Sure. All right.
All right, here we go. I rolled a 22. And
Luckily,
that's a crit.
Luckily, a 22 is enough to make sure that you don't run into any issues with the outer patrols. You puncture the sphere of influence that Nucleus seems to have back here and dive deep into enemy territory, noting just slightly how it might be difficult to get back out once you've made a ruckus. But that's not your concern yet. But might be a future concern.
For sure. Cross that bridge when we come to it.
As you get closer to Lumir, Salacia, you get a close range message. It is a group of ships that you don't know how they got in here so undetected. It is surprising to you because some of the signals you're reading are like lug tuggers and things like that. You know, things that are like very low tech, very like, puddle jumper type ships. But they seem to have pierced the outer defenses of this place with no trouble. Like, you didn't get any signs of any alerts or alarms raised or anything like that. But yeah, you have a bunch of like makeshift bombers and deployment vehicles that contact you from close by. The person who is actually, let me pull up some info here because I don't have it open. Why don't I have it open? That's silly of me. It is under Lancer. All right. Here we go. Yes, so you get a message from the nearby ships saying that they were the ones sent here to help you out. The person who contacts you is... Nope, I deleted it. Diddly darn. Let's make up a new name.
Diddly darn is his name.
Diddly darn contacts you. Captain of the Darn Good Shipment Company.
I love this so much.
Diddly darn contacts you from the rebels and gets in touch with you and states, "All right, well, we got here. We're ready to go. I am ready to deploy at your convenience. Once we get in, give us time to get in close ahead of you, because we got them transmission captures. We can make sure that we aren't detected, and can't guarantee you can fly as soft as we can. So give us a moment to wrest control for you, eh?"
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I think we're ready to we're ready to go. So on your mark.
All right. As you see these like makeshift cargo crawlers like all turn around, they don't have a way to deploy ships. It is like someone, lifts up the door on the back of a bunch of U-Hauls, and some mechs just float out of them. These are very similar to the mechs you have seen before. You fought them. You see a couple of infringements and frauds drop out the back of these cargo freighters. The types of mechs that you saw during contest assaulting a platform that you were defending. As they approach Lumir, Salacia, nothing goes hot. The satellite seems to not notice them at all, even though they're clear as day on your systems. You note that after they get a certain distance away from you, after they get away from the deployment area, they disappear off your sensor screens. Not the signal gets weaker and then they're gone. Yeah. It is after they reach a certain range, they don't exist according to your sensors.
I'm just like, wow, what kind of tech do they have?
It is, but 5 minutes later, that you see explosions. The outside of the satellite is riddled with explosions and reports back and forth. You see literally what appears to be a artillery emplacement on the top of the base literally get torn off and chucked into space. It is only 1 minute after the fighting starts that it abruptly stops again, and Diddly Darn contacts you. Goes, "Well, that were pretty easy, buddy. Are you sure you needed us?"
Well, you never know. Best to play it safe.
All right. Well, door's open for you. We took out all the emplaced guns that were on the outside of her. We can, if you guys don't have some breaching charges or whatnot or a way in, we can provide that. It might be a little bit more destructive than you're looking for, but for the time being, we can play lookout out here for you. It's a mighty big place. Can't speak to how many boots and guns they got inside, but I'd say just be careful. Be easier just to blow the place up.
Well, that's not completely off the table yet. But yeah, as long as you could just watch our backs out there, we should be all set, Diddley.
All right, you got it, buddy. If you need us to blow the place up, just let us know. Give her a ring.
Listen, I don't know if you planned for this guy to have a southern accent, but as soon as his name became Diddley Darn, it just became necessary, I'm guessing.
But it did become necessary. Yes, that is correct.
You needed him to say like 10-4, Neberino.
All right, well, you have a mighty good day.
All right. All right, that's our cue, guys. Let's get loaded up.
All right.
I realize I probably need to put in my zero-G system on my mech.
That could have been a nice thing to do during that 10-hour downtime where you knew you were going to be launching into space.
I did that. I did do that. It's Todd who's catching up.
Astro has to deal with this dead weight.
Yeah, Astro did that. He texted me several times. So
do you all have a way to either fly or move in zero-G right now?
No,
I'm good.
I do.
Right.
What's the thing called the mech system?
EVA.
EVA. That's.
I do think, by the way, Bob, I decided to take the free stabilize.
Okay.
Action.
Yeah, the redundant repairs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just mark it on your character sheet so we know you got it.
And there's a place to do that somewhere, I think.
There is a place to do that somewhere.
I've never been able to find like a note section.
I think it's on your pilot, not your mech.
Okay, that would do it.
Yeah, like there's. I'm thinking reserves probably.
Yeah, at the very bottom of your pilot narrative tab on your pilot sheet, there should be a section called reserves.
Pilot narrative, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Yep. So that's where to put that.
How do I add something? There's nothing.
Oh,
I think you have to be in edit mode.
You have to go to the compendium packs and find pilot items, and then under pilot items, there's reserve, and you just drag and drop the thing you're adding.
Yeah, the options I gave you were in the book reserve types, so you can just pull redundant repairs onto your character sheet.
Well, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool, done.
There we go. All right. As the four of you exit the DBC and drift towards Salacia, you can tell that the crew that was sent to help you out were brutally efficient. They did not mess up the satellite too much, but also the satellite looks a little bit different than you were expecting. It is kind of like a floating military base. A lot of the guns have been torn out, but there's also a weirdness to this place. I would like anyone who thinks they can figure out things from a quick, Sherlockian style glance at evidence. Does anyone think they can kind of put two and two together here that would make a pilot roll?
Would read a situation or investigate help?
Yeah, read a situation's a good one for this.
All right. 21.
Nice.
Steve, you are confident that a lot of those guns weren't manned. This place reads more like a construction site to you than an active base. You, in fact, note that some of the sections of this base don't appear to be fully enclosed, and in fact might be open to vacuum. You're not sure the entirety of the inside of this place is even fully pressurized.
It's like a space dock.
It is like 2/3 finished being built.
Mm-hmm.
It is the second Death Star, not the first.
Yeah.
But you are able to approach. What's your way in? How do the pilots plan on getting inside?
I mean, scan for entrances. There's got to be entrances into this place for people to come and go.
Yeah. You guys are able to scan, just a natural function of your mechs. There are doors, entryways on the outside, but how are you going to choose one? What are you looking for? I'm sure there are some that are maintenance hatches. I'm sure there are some that are docks. I'm sure there are some that are only to be used for accessing certain subsystems. How do you decide which way is the way in?
Is there like a garage hangar bay type dock?
There would be. That's one of the pieces that isn't fully done being built yet. You can head over that direction, but there is a place that should be for accepting ships and mechs and things of that nature. But you can tell that the docks area is not fully functional yet. It appears there is a place where ships can pull up and dock with the station to supply cargo, but not places where you'd be able to land, so to speak.
Got it. And the other doors, are there doors that are that we can breach and fit our mechs inside?
This is a human-sized station. The place that the mechs could fit is probably the unfinished docks.
Yeah.
Or you could leave them floating outside whatever entryway you want, obviously. Right. You can just set them on, clip to side of building and stay here mode, But if you want a place where they could stand, quote unquote, then yeah, I mean, even though the docks are unfinished, there is place you could set down there.
Okay, I was just curious. I think with our rebel friends keeping an eye out, we could pretty much park them anywhere, and it probably is fine. So scanning kind of a layout of this satellite. Where do I think do you think I could do a check or something? I want to know if I can identify that part, that's the nerve center of the satellite. That's where we should target. But I don't know if I would know that. So maybe let me see what I have. I don't think investigate fits because I don't want to be taking a long time necessarily. I just kind of want to, if I had a spot check, that's what I would roll.
Then can I roll a spot check?
I'll actually say over the channel. I'll be like, anyone identify a spot we can target? I'm looking for the nerve center of this satellite. The control center or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do a spot check.
All right, Dyne. I will give you one thing to start with before you make your check. This place is big. It is unfinished. It is 2/3 built, but it is big. It is, like we talked about, as big as the entire campus you guys were at back on the planet. But what if it was all consolidated into a single military base in space, right? It is bigger than the DBC by a fair margin. But it is not as big as AO Station or something like that. AO Station is far bigger than it. This is somewhere in between those two things.
Okay. Cool. A 5.
Woof.
It is this is unknown architecture to you. You were never part of the military. You don't know how these corporations specifically like to build things. And even if it weren't for that, you've never seen how these three corporations working together would organize things. So this is unknown ground to tread. You could make some assumptions, but you'd have no way of guaranteeing your answers were correct.
Right.
So I'm assuming Dyne just like, not sure, boss, or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He looks at it and he's like, "There's too much I haven't seen. I can't make it one way or the other."
Okay, and then Astro will just. You said there's like maintenance hatches along this station.
Yeah, I mean, it is everything, every permeability that you think a space station would need exists. So there's places that probably open up into maintenance areas. There are probably places that open up not into the station itself like you would hope, but open up into like subsystems. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, we need to get onto Outer Wing B so that we can fuck around with the, life support system out there. Well, someone's going to have to go spacewalk out there, open up the door and go figure out what's happening with the radiant heat emitter or something. You know what I mean? Like, this is a complicated building. Living in space is complicated. So there are plenty of permeabilities into the station. Finding one that goes where you want it to go is the challenge here.
Yeah. So I'll target what looks to Astro to be some sort of maintenance entry on the satellite, and I'll kind of paint it for everyone else, and I'll say, well, let's just try to get inside via that ingress point. It looks to be like maybe a maintenance hatch or something. So if there are people inside, maybe we could catch them unawares.
I mean, probably not too unawares. They did just get attacked.
Yeah, I'm sure they figured something out by now.
But yeah, that's
unawares
that's
in the sense that we might not be coming from where they expect us to come.
Yeah.
And even that is, optimistic, but better than nothing. So let's head towards there.
One last thing: are we able to read energy flows, like where it's going to and from?
You can use a scan to try and get that information, but it would be a pilot check to see if you got anything that was useful.
And
I mean, I would. Yeah, I'd try that. Is someone good at scanning for energy, or I don't know what that would even be.
I have engineering, weapon systems, and reactors. I would imagine Dyne plus Artemis would probably be pretty efficient at it.
Then yeah, I'll say like, hey, can you try to, before we go in, can you try to scan where the energy is going from and to in here?
Yeah, I will give it a shot. See if I can roll better than a 5. 15.
Nice.
With that, you're able to detect. I mean, what's the goal? To see what areas are powered?
Yeah, well, okay. We don't know exactly what we're looking for here, but I think it stands to reason that where we're going is going to have power. Whether it's computer systems that are powered up that we're needing to go through, or some sort of crazy amount of energy going to a place in the thing that they built. Like I don't know exactly what we're looking for, but at least we can see where the power is running to, places of the ship that are complete, or the space station that are complete, that we can go to and from. If there's power running through it, then that means there's people going through it as well, so we can have a better idea of where the people might be at. So there's a lot of to it, I think.
Absolutely. With that check and with that being what you're looking for, the core is powered. Several wings reaching out from the core are powered. It is only the most distal arms of the station that are completely unpowered and don't even look like they're ready to be hooked up to power. You can easily, with this, tell what probably the quote-unquote livable areas are. But by livable, I mean what areas are likely to have full life support flowing through them. That is not to say that they couldn't also be doing work in some of those areas that aren't currently up to date. In fact, they probably are, but you can tell with this check what parts of the station appear to be powered. Yes, absolutely.
Alrighty.
You get a little bit more than that, but I don't know how to be more detailed in my description. If you have a question that you want answered with that information, I can give you more accurate answers.
Sure. Does there seem to be a central hub other than the reactor that energy's running through?
Absolutely. The core of the station. Like, by core, I don't mean power core. I mean the center. Like, imagine the station is a big... It's not a sphere. It's not a sphere. That's the first thing I wanted to get away from. It's not a sphere, but it is concentric circles. Okay? The innermost circle is fully powered. And a few circles out from... So imagine a bunch of concentric circles. The center few are all powered. But once you get out from like the 3 center circles, then it starts being patchwork, which parts of them are powered.
Is this like a ring type?
It is like a bunch of concentric rings that go out and get bigger and bigger. But that's not the whole story, because it's not completely horizontal. It's up and down too. So imagine concentric cylinders.
Okay.
I say we go as close as we can to the middle, by the way.
I mean, that seems like a safe bet.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. If you want to kind of like bypass some of the outer arm bits of the station, you can float closer to the core. But noting that based on like just regular, layout scans that you can do from the outside just to see like what bits are solid, where walls are likely to be and things like that, the core is just physically inaccessible because there are places built on outside of it. But you can definitely bypass some of the outer, more wing-like sections of the space station to get closer. Absolutely.
Sounds good to me.
All right. And then what are you looking for once you get there? It is not difficult to get there. The weapon systems are down. It is just a matter of where you plan to set down and what you plan to do to get in.
Once we get close, like to a point where we're like, this is probably as close to the core as we can get. Same kind of ideas before. I'm gonna like look for something that looks like it could be more of a maintenance or service hatch, instead of like a main sort of entry way. I guess there are really no main entryways though, unless you're at a dock. Like it's not like you're just walking around outside in space and you're like, oh, here's the front door, I'll just walk in.
Right.
So that doesn't completely make sense when I think about it. But yeah, I'll just pick a service hatch that I see. I'll be like, let's try to get in this way.
Sounds good. We'll head there.
All right. You guys close in on... I have... You know what? We'll get to that some other time. You guys close in on the space station, finding a service hatch nearby. As you get up to it, you can see, a variety of like stenciling on the outside for like patterns that they're going to add and haven't had time to add yet. For example, it is evident that like, the people who built this place probably know where things go, but eventually people who don't know how to get around are going to have to get around this place. Unfortunately, that includes you. And they haven't done the make it easier to traverse part of it yet. So there aren't like signs that say this is where sector so-and-so is, or this leads to that. So like on most space stations, you'd be able to tell outside of a door like, oh, this heads to this kind of area, or at least there's warning stickers or, stencils or something on the outside. There's nothing like that here. It is pretty much unmarked out here, to the point where you have no idea what's going to be beyond here, but you do land next to it.
But we also do have where the energy flows into the ship.
That is correct.
So we could follow that direction as to where to go to get to where we... Because I think we're looking for the core at this point, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me.
Well, we're heading toward it, at least. I'm not sure we'll be able to reach it.
Yeah, but I think he's saying that what we want to do once we're in is head towards the core.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or get in and try to gain entrance as close as we can. So let's kind of park our mechs near that entranceway. Is there an interface to like cycle an airlock, or is it just kind of like a door?
It is a door that has giant like clamps, around the outside of it where it like latches on to the building.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a huge like circular crossbar style thing right in the center of the door where you would have to like disengage it to open it, right? It is not like you do a thing and the door swings open. It is like you have to get in there with your hands and manually do the thing where you like pull it out and then slowly turn it and then push it back in and then swing and like pull the door away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like on a ship, basically, those kind of doors.
Yep. Yeah, it is a sealed door.
Okay. So once we kind of park our mechs, Astro's like, well, I'm gonna go out there and see if I could get the door open.
You want some help with that? I don't know how heavy the door is.
Yeah, I'll take any help I can get.
Okay. Yeah, let's work a door.
And I'll tether myself to my mech and exit the mech in my hard suit for a spacewalk to open the door.
All right. You head over to the door. It is obvious to you when you get there that the analog parts of the door to interact with are they're locked. The door is ultimately locked. You can't just like spin the big handle, depressurize it, and swing open the door. There is something telling that bit of door not to move. Like you get in there with your hands and like you're not sure, like you pull and push and it just won't budge at first. So what do you do?
And there's no like is there any outside interface? Or does
not
it
an interface as such, but it is clear that there's like accessible bits around it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say there's a keypad or anything like that nearby.
Right.
There's nothing as overt as that, but there is mechanical bits around the door.
Astro's like, well, I don't really. I think we're just gonna probably have to blast our way through.
Well,
yeah, that's sort of why. Oh, go ahead.
To say there's two options. Either I can blast our way through with my mech, because I do have, what is it called? Jackhammer. It's from one of my talents. Yeah, the jackhammer, where I can literally just fire an underslung launcher and deal 10 AP to 10 AP kinetic damage to an object, basically blowing open the door. Or I have a thermal charge.
I was gonna say, I was gonna see if there's a way to easily get the door open without, alerting our location. Maybe, see if there's weakness.
I'll lay on the charm. I don't like to charm every door I come across, but
For this one specifically.
I mean, if there's
Hey
like a
there,
bolt,
door.
if there's
How
like a
you
bolt we
doing?
can burn through. All right, I roll up my sleeves, start charring the charm of the door. I was gonna.
But yeah, if you have any ideas, please, I'm open to it.
Yeah, can I see if there's a way to like? I guess similar to how I got that door open back at the factory at the see if there's like a weakness or something we can exploit to say like, okay, if I burn through this boulder, like it opens automatically or something like that.
All right, sounds like a pilot check to me.
Sure.
Would thermite work in space?
Yeah, no oxygen.
I know it's a chemical reaction, but like I assume it would still need oxygen, right?
It's thermite. Space thermite.
Sure. That's fine. I was just wondering.
I feel like this is a hacker fix because I'm trying to disable or sabotage the door.
Aha! Thermite contains its own supply of oxygen and does not require an external source of air.
Really?
It's metal oxide.
Consequently, it cannot be smothered and may ignite in any environment given sufficient initial heat.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Supply that heat.
So yeah, I think that it's because like you can. I think that's what you use to like blow things open underwater, for example.
Yeah,
it's like a thermite charge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna make my dice roll. 10.
With a 10, Evelene, you check the door, look around, try to see what's going on here. You think you can maybe get, because, you know, this place isn't complete yet. And even if it were, there's some places nearby that look like you could pry up some panels. It takes you a little bit, but you are able to eventually find a place where you can get into the circuitry of the walls a little bit. But that's where it gets tricky. Once you're in, it's hard to tell like what they're for. You just know, okay, I've gotten into the walls. So it takes you a little bit, but you mess around with it and eventually you're able to think you can you could basically just cut the power supply to this door. Okay. Now, that won't necessarily make it throw itself open, but it will disengage any magnetic locks that are in place.
I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You did it. That was the successful check.
Oh.
You did it, Evelene. Yeah. You made the successful check already. After Evelene does this, Astro, you check the door again. And it's honestly, it's going to be a bitch. You can throw this door open, but you probably want like a power loader to do this. Like doing this with your arms will be hard. So it's either going to be a difficult pilot check or you're going to have to come up with a creative way to manually open this door. Because this is a door meant to be opened by the computer systems that open the door. You can do it manually, but they don't intend that to be the 99% of the time way this door opens.
Evelene, can you like winch this open with your mech?
Is my mech small enough to be able to like pry it?
Your mech is small, but correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have the subsystem that lets you manipulate human-sized objects.
No,
yeah,
no.
I
sometimes
have that, but now I'm kicking myself for not including that because I even thought about it before we started.
Yeah, there is specifically a subsystem that allows you to work with human-sized objects, which would just solve the problem. Yeah. But since none of you have that, you could jerry-rig a way to attach it to one of the mechs and like have them use one of their arms as a lever or something like
Yeah.
that, but you wouldn't get the fine actuation you need to actually like get fingers behind the bar to like pull, twist, push it back in, swing the door up. It's like a series of motions, and each one of them requires a fair amount of power behind it.
Sure.
And in order to do it without just tearing the door off the wall.
I was gonna
You could
ask, can we
always
just tear the door off?
try to tear the door off the wall, but that will have consequences just like anything would, you know. I'm not saying that's the wrong choice either. I'm just saying that's what would happen.
Sure. Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Our engineer. Do you think you can MacGyver something that would help us get this door open?
Yeah, I got a few ideas.
MacGyver,
I do
by
like
the way,
that
is
MacGyver.
an ancient reference.
Yes. I do like that MacGyver has survived to the modern day. That is very interesting.
Before he got blacklisted, he was reading over a script where he would revive MacGyver. I think by now it'd probably be like the 10th reboot of MacGyver.
I heard the most recent reboot of the MacGyver is it's called The MacGyver, by the way. Is in like development hell at Terratella right now.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of like, oh, do we really want people to think they can be this resourceful kind of stuff going on? Yeah.
So the first thing that comes to mind for me, and this is a little hard to explain, but if I were to take one of the grapple hooks from the third law and attach it on the circumference of the wheel, and then from where the mech is, Chimera could rotate the mech's arm such that, so when you're that far back, the rotation of the arm, the mech could be swinging its arm a little wider, with a wider circle, and just rotate it that way, and use the cable of the grapple hook to sort of pull it along that circle. If that makes any sense.
You want a pulley system?
Well, no, it's not a pulley system. I'm just
okay.
rotating the wheel using the mech arm. But I mean, I don't have to have my mech's hand on the wheel. Because our mechs aren't built to do that small spaces.
Yeah, you can try this. This will be not a idea check. This will be an execution check. Okay. This is an idea that will work if you can pull it off. Because basically will involve you hooking it up to part of the door that needs to move, getting your mech to move very carefully so that it like does the mechanical thing it needs to do, and then stop before it jams it, and then remove it from that piece of the door, put it on a different piece of the door that needs to move. There are 4 like movements it needs to go through, and you'll need to reattach and do a new like movement for each one of those movements the door needs to go through. It needs to like pull out, turn, push in, and then pull out the whole door. I'm just explaining that's why it's mechanically complex. It'll still be one check. So what execution check do you want to do for that? Again, the idea is already thought of, so we can't activate a skill check for, I came up with a cool idea. It will have to be something relating to pulling it off well.
Yeah, I got creative engineering, but that seems more. Actually, that could be execution. It's up to you, Bob.
That's I think what I was getting at, though. I think the creative engineering was engineering the solution, which you have done. Can you pull off executing the solution without causing a problem for yourself?
I don't have anything for execution.
You sure?
Stay cool, maybe. Because of precision. Yeah.
That requires concentration, dexterity, and precision. Yeah, I absolutely think you can stay cool this.
And I did like the quickest MS Paint idea, what I was trying to describe. Not that it helps at this point, but anyway, yeah, I'll do stay cool.
Before he rolls that, can I do a spot check to try and give him guidance? like as he's rotating the arm, like say, do this, do that.
Okay,
No,
to be at like
stop.
different distances from each other, just relaying information, since one of you will have to be on the mech and one of you will have to be like closer to the door. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll say that you're cooperating with Evelene to pull this off. So let's do your check first for assistance.
This will be my spot check. A 15.
Hey.
With the 15, Dyne assists. Now, Evelene, your check with accuracy.
Thank goodness. 13.
All right.
I needed that, didn't I?
You needed the accuracy because you only rolled a 3 plus 4. So yeah, the extra 6 accuracy really helped you there. Yeah, with Dyne's help, he is able to once really quickly warn you that, oh, actually, it doesn't do a full rotation. Stop pulling. The wheel is stopped. We need to now push the wheel in. Don't pull anymore. But yeah, you're eventually able to get the door into position, disengage. Astro, who was originally investigating, is able to watch this from a safe distance, watches as the two of them complete the last bit of this procedure. There's a lot of like, not explosive, but controlled decompression. As the last movement of the door handle, you see from around the 4 bolts at the 4 corners of the door, just as there's a vent into space that doesn't sound like the entire area. Like that wasn't enough, air to be like an entire subsection venting or anything like that. But there is a for like exactly that long when that door like pops away from the panel a little bit. So you think you might be in.
Okay. Let's swing that door open and file in.
All right. Are all of you getting out of your mechs at this point?
I'll do a quick once-over, but assuming nothing else is around, sure. I suppose so.
Because, as you swing the door open, you see inside the station. It seems that this area is like not exactly like a fully functioning like auto airlock, but is kind of like the equivalent of a space station mudroom, right? It is a small room that has some in like what look like tubes almost, like closed against the wall, like closed plastic panels, basically spacesuits and helmets. There is a thing on the ground that seems to be for pressurizing and depressurizing this room, and what appears to be like benches and lockers. And in fact, you even see a rack that is unfilled. It's an empty rack, but what appears to be a rack for placing automatic weapons into that doesn't have any weapons in it yet.
Maybe it's for skis. Have you ever considered that?
Yeah. Very true.
All right, everyone, get ready for the ski trip. Go, go, go.
They have an indoor ski resort here.
Yeah.
It's the first thing they worked on.
There's guys skiing down a fake mountain, firing machine guns at us.
Are we in a James Bond film now?
Yeah.
But yeah, you have successfully moved into Salacia Station. Do you pull the door shut behind you? Do you just move forward? You're going to have to dictate the action for now, because until I have something to act on you with, it's going to be player directed.
Does this look? Are we just in, or does this look like the first chamber of an airlock?
Like I said, it is kind of like almost like a ready room or a mud room or something like that. This is like an area for prepping and stuff like that. And it seems like when you opened it, it just depressurized this room. You know from your scans that there is livable space beyond here.
So once we're in, I will try to close the outside door.
That requires nothing of you. It is just a door that you are able to close. You close it, and then from the inside, it is a much easier process to lock the door from the inside, which is an unfortunate thing, I will tell you. It is easy to lock the door. It is not easy to unlock the door. Once you pull that door closed, there is a large bar that you can swing down, like a large lever that you can swing down over the door that seems to go through the entire process you guys went through on the outside to open the door, but backwards, right? So like it's like pulling the bar down does the whole thing where it like guides along a track, some sort of mechanism that makes the wheel on the outside do all the things you just did.
Yeah.
But once that bar is closed, you see where that bar like locks and knocks into place. It does not go back the other way. So this is like a ease of use door, because obviously you don't have giant machines inside the space station, but you might have them outside the space station. So this handle has to be lockable by a person. But usually if you wanted to go out this door, you would use the space station systems to open the door. So there's not an easy way to open it back up if you decide to close it now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and lock it anyway, in the hopes that once we find what we're looking for, we'll also be able to access a system that would allow us to open that door. Of course, we did cut the power to it, didn't we? I just remembered. We could, well, we have thermite with us, so I'm going to close the door.
Here's hoping I don't use it later.
Yeah. If so, maybe we'll have
I feel like you're in control of your destiny there.
Yeah.
Well, Astro, either we get through this door to the place we need, or I get us an escape route. Which do you choose?
Yeah, so I'll lock the door, and I'm hoping maybe if we lock it, that might turn on like life support or cycle air back into the room or something.
As you close and lock the door, you see that one of the lights on the raised panel that comes up out of the ground in this room, it is like, what if there's like a stick coming up out of the ground that has a control panel laid across it, right? Mm-hmm. One of the lights on that panel turns green when you close and lock that door.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Like, is there anything? Is there like a keypad or panel where I can like turn on lights in this room, or turn on life support, something like that?
The only visible control panels are next to the closed panels that seem to have equipment, like closed into like low locked containers, and then that raised panel I told you about where the light went green.
Yeah, that raised panel that just has the light. Does it have any?
It's a control panel, but a light on it turned green.
I see. It is a. I was thinking like a panel, like kind of like a stoplight with two lights.
No. It is like, what if a keyboard?
Yeah.
And then along the top of it are a bunch of lights.
Got it.
One of them turned green when you closed and locked the door.
Right. Okay. Let me take a look at that panel. Can I click a few buttons and try to get life support on in this area?
So, can you elaborate on what click a few buttons means?
Is it actually?
Do you do the thing where you walk up and you go, oh, and then you just like a kid who walks into the same room as a piano, where you just walk over and randomly press a few keys, or are you trying to do something specific?
Potentially the former. But let me ask: is it like a QWERTY keyboard? or something?
It is not.
Or they're
It is not. These appear to be control buttons.
Okay.
It is more like looking at a remote turned sideways than it is like looking at a keyboard.
So anything I recognize, or is this like something that only a person like trained would
I
be
think
able to interpret?
there's a possibility you might be able to suss out something here, but it would
Turn
be
the
a pilot check.
volume up.
Turn the volume up, yeah. I want to turn on subtitles, actually. Where's the closed captioning button? Yeah, I'll do a take control. Take remote control.
Would be hacker, right? Hacker fix or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't really want to hack or fix it. I want to use it normally. So like I'm not trying to wreck or disable or sabotage it.
Yet.
Would you guys mind giving me like 5-10 minutes to look this over? If so,
Do you have investigate? Because that seems like an investigate.
That's what I'm getting at. If you don't mind waiting, because it will probably take a little time, I'll do an investigate check.
Here's a question I have for you all. I kind of assumed this, and maybe I shouldn't have, but are you all wearing your hard suits?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I would think
Okay.
so.
I just want to note before we go any further, know that wearing a hard suit is like walking around with power armor on. Okay? So walking around in your hard suit, you will not be able to blend in with the staff inside if you're wearing a hard suit. I'm not even saying you want to do that. I just note sometimes we treat being in a hard suit the same as being in a spacesuit, and they're very different things.
Yeah.
That's fair. Look,
If someone inside sees you, they will go, giant person with military grade hardware attached to them, and either try to shoot you or run away. Is all I want to put out there.
Someone's going to be shooting at us at one point in time. I'd rather have the
I said
armor.
or run away. I said shoot or run away. We don't know how they're going to respond yet.
Oh, and that reminds me that my hard suit stealth function
is
isn't
broken.
Working. Yeah,
That's correct. Yeah.
that's a good thing to remember. Yeah, got it. So yeah, I'll take a few minutes to investigate if that sounds good. Roll it. I rolled a 22.
All right. With the 22, you are able to quickly review this panel. It is pretty obvious to you after a little bit of looking and like assessing and thinking hard about like what the different things this room would need to do for people, what the likely operations it can do are. And it is much more like a remote than it is like a keyboard. It is not like this active like accesses some system or anything like that. You think every button on here just does a thing. Now, it can be obtuse like a remote where it's like, oh, but this button only works if you're already pressing this button and things like that. So It can be obtuse, but you think that it's set up to do specific things. And you're able to, after a time, be like, okay, that light must be on because it detects the seal is closed. Now, if I want to like get air back in, there's probably another button on here that does that based on like where this is and where that is and how that's colored. You think you have, pretty good odds of being able to cycle the air into this room and opening the door to go further in.
Excellent. That's what I want. So, once I feel like I got a handle on it, I'll start hitting the keys that I think I need to hit.
And then, all of you here as it's an interesting experience. You've all gone through it before where, as a place pressurizes, all of a sudden sound travels, right? It's like a interesting experience when you go from, I'm in a place with vacuum and really only hearing like echoes through my feet and up through my suit and things like that to, oh, this place is filling with air, I can hear the things that Astro is doing over there through the air and not just through reverberations through the ground. So all of you kind of can tell as the room repressurizes, as atmosphere and air start filling the compartment.
Excellent. All right. We've got air.
And then a few more maneuvers, and you are able to get the door that goes further into the space station open. You hear a few clicks as some bolts pop out of the door, gently clicking each one in like a response to like, oh yeah, this place is, sealed and filled with air, so there won't be any decompression. The bolts pop open easily, and the door, almost on its own, swings like half of the way open.
I'll walk up to the door and kind of open it a little bit and just peek in ahead and see what we have in front of us.
As soon as you look deeper into the station, you can see that the entire place has like track lighting along the floors and the ceiling. It is like along the floors on both sides of like a central walkway, and on the ceilings along both sides of the center is like track lighting going through the entire center. Most of it is on like a illuminating but slightly ominous like yellow cast to the lighting. You can tell that they've probably activated some sort of like alert mode or something like that. You can see very slightly some flashing light in between two doors that seems to be rotating, but there is no alarm sounding. There's no like sound going through the air. In fact, it is almost eerily quiet as you open the door. Ahead of you is just a long and empty hallway with this uniquely yellow cast light and the flashing beacon aside two doors. The two doors are to your right if you're looking down the hallway, both of them maybe like 10 feet apart from each other. And then at the far end of the hallway from where you entered from, it appears to T-section with another hallway, which of course you can't see around those corners from way back here.
All right. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm staying in my hard suit.
Definitely.
I don't even know if there's enough people to, if we did try to blend in, they'd probably just notice that we're not someone they know and get suspicious.
Yeah.
Because there's probably not a lot of people stationed here anyway.
I mean, we can pretend we belong here, but that probably only goes so far.
Just need confidence. Act like you own the place.
Worth a shot.
Right. Let's move forward. So Astro will walk up to those. First thing is he's going to walk up to the first door on the hallway. To I think both doors were to our right.
That's correct. They're on the right side of this long hallway.
So yeah, I'll walk up to the first door, see if I can open it.
Yeah, it just opens.
All right. I'll open it all the way. Let's see what's inside there.
It appears to be an unfinished storage room. It has like 2 shelving units, but they don't take up the whole space. But they do appear to have a few essentials on them. There are a few like patch seals. There are a few like replacement plating. You see there is an area where there's like someone had set up and like put together a welder, like a welding unit, but left it all connected and just kind of like turn it off and set it aside.
Okay. Asher's just like storage room, and he just moves on to the door after that.
All right, and you just open the door again?
Yeah.
As you open this door, for a moment, you are caught unawares. because you weren't, bracing yourself for it. But as the door opens, light and sound immediately come out through the door. It appears that perhaps this, cell or section or whatever this room is was well insulated. There is not the emergency light in this room. There is full light in this room. There is not the eerie silence of the rest of the space station. There is a low din of voices. And for a second, you're worried that you just walked in on a conversation. But nothing reacts to your presence. And as you peer into the door, you realize this is a small, perhaps a break room, and there is a television on in the corner that still has an episode of some inane daytime drama where a couple, people are yelling at each other about some, made up slight or another. But that is the voices you heard. There is no people in here. It appears to have been a hastily abandoned break room.
Astro takes a look at the TV and he's like, the star's my destination. I guest starred on that once.
Any good?
It's a soap opera, so it's the usual. But this TV is on, so I'm guessing there are indeed people on the station. But when the rebels attacked, they probably ran off to their stations or to hide or maybe even to evacuate. Is there anything like in the break room that would indicate like there were people here until recently, like a fresh made pot of coffee or like half-eaten food, that sort of thing?
Yes. Yeah, you don't even make a check for this.
Yeah.
There is a open and half-eaten bag of what are those? What are they called? They're not corn
Bugles.
puffs. You know what? They're like bugles.
Space beagles.
They're tubas.
Oh, nice.
They're thicker and longer.
Yeah. This is
fantastic.
Just the next obvious evolution.
They're a half-open bag of tubas. They are whatever your favorite flavor of tubas are, Todd. What's Astro's favorite flavor of tubas?
All I can think of is tuna right now. God damn it.
Okay, I'm gonna go close
It's
to that.
nacho cheese.
No.
You know what?
Tuna.
I'm gonna go close. I'm gonna go close to tuna.
Okay.
They are like the Old Bay seasoning.
Oh,
tubas.
okay.
Oh,
yeah,
actually,
that's
that
good.
sounds great.
I like that.
Yeah, they're old. Instead of Old Bay, they're old space dock tubas.
Yeah. Great. I love it. But Astro's just like, there are definitely people on the station. I mean, I expected there would be at least some people, but it's nice to have confirmation. Let's just move on carefully. If we run into anyone, maybe we could just maybe we could just convince them it's in their best interest to stand down.
Either that, or they're going to start throwing tubas at us.
Well, I don't mind that. I could catch them in my mouth. All right. I'm going to leave the break room and let's head down to that T intersection at the end of the hallway.
All right. As you head down to the intersection at the end of the hallway, you can see that this is going to be the first of a long series of navigation checks. It is a large space station. It is in some ways equivalent to working your way through city blocks. You have no map currently on how to get through this. So I'm going to ask you intent, i.e., what kind of thing you're on the lookout for and where you're trying to get to next, and how you're going to do that. Because right now you're just wandering blind through a bunch of like, yes, no, do I make left, right, center, straight, diagonal? How are you getting through this? Obviously, you have some information about what's powered and not, and that can help guide your decision. But I kind of want to hear what your thoughts are on how you plan to get deeper and deeper. Do you just make random choices, or do you have things you're using to help you?
I think I have a great idea, which is a mark of a true leader. Is I'm going to delegate to the rest of my team.
I was so excited to hear you're playing Todd.
I want to use lead or inspire to motivate a group of people into action. And so I'll turn to the rest of the team, and I'm like, okay, so Steve was able to get some basic power flow readings. We need to head to the core or anything that looks like it could be a control center, where we can perhaps get some information if we can hack into some computer terminals. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I think you have the experience of being on different space stations, that I can rely on your intuition and your wile to get us through to where we need to go.
Didn't we have a conversation last episode where we said you were a good leader?
I am a good leader. I'm leading right now.
But are you inspiring us?
So probably not.
Not very inspiring. A 7. I was thinking that
I just
maybe
never use my lead or inspire trigger, so
that's fair. That's fair.
I could give it a try.
I was thinking it might be good to focus on more finished areas. I mean, I would assume the core was one of the first places that was built, so things leading from that are probably going to be more developed in like a, under construction hallway. So maybe use that as sort of a guiding light, I guess, or something to that effect.
There are all these useful things I thought about bringing with me before this mission. Like, one was the mech manipulators that we could have used to open the door. The other was like for pilot gear. I was thinking about bringing a personal drone. That's one of the options. We could have used it to scout out ahead, but I ended up not changing anything. But I like that idea. Like, we can, like, when we're at different junctures, we can try to get a sense of what's finished around here. It may require us just, like, some of us scouting ahead and coming back,
True.
like both ways, and then making a decision that way. So that might be time consuming, but maybe what we have to do in combination with, like, generally following where where the power is leading to. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say that makes sense.
My thought process is, where there's power, there's people. We find people, we threaten people where to tell us where to go.
That's true. If we find a person, we can get more information from them.
Seems to work for me.
Yeah. So basically, we're following the power. We're following what areas appear to be more finished, more developed, thinking that there's a better chance we're going to run into people that way.
Okay. Well, if the idea is to make it towards habitated or populated areas, we can make that the goal for your next skill check if you would like.
That sounds good.
Okay. And who's leading this?
I don't think I should lead this.
Yeah, you don't want to lead and inspire us?
I
Well,
tried that and it
I'm-
didn't work.
No, I'm counting that as Comet already tried and failed. So Comet can now not impact this next roll. It will have to be someone else, and he can't help.
Yep.
He tried and it didn't work.
I mean, I guess I can follow and use spot to try and spot details, objects, or people,
Okay. Yeah, if we want to go that route.
unless anyone else has a better idea. I'm going to
Not-
take that as a no.
Not unless word on the street helps, which
Yeah,
Has-
I was.
such a useless skill, I swear.
We haven't had a lot of opportunities to use it.
You just need to be in civilized areas to use it, you know? You have to be able to talk to them streets.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can find some civilization. 16.
16. With a 16, you are able to get a sense of, as you're moving through these areas, of perhaps how people funneled further into the station by seeing like what areas were populated and abandoned versus what areas never had any people into it. You kind of are getting a sense of flow from it, Dyne. And you start to be like, okay, I can kind of... There should be a left ahead of us. And most of the time, you're right. And when you aren't right, you're like, okay, if there was a left ahead of us, we should have taken a left. But since there wasn't, let's keep going straight. And then maybe there will eventually head that way. Because you're doing that thing where it's like, you don't know the exact directions, but large scale, you're like, I think we generally need to go that-ish way. So any turn we take that heads us more that way, we should try to take that turn. And it starts leading you deeper into the station. As you get about 5 minutes down this route of getting further into the station, you encounter the first problem you have getting deeper into the station, which is who's at the lead right now? Who's like...
I'll let Dyne take the lead.
I guess
Dyne?
I point, yeah.
Yeah.
Dyne, it is only by a hair's breadth that you stop before the next turn. Not because of like anything, that you were, you saw or anything like that, but just the tiniest sound around the corner alerted you. And you stopped in your tracks, held out your arms and stopped your companions, and sounded vaguely mechanical, like something turning in place, like the sound of like gears turning, or like something on a like an arm turning. Dyne, do you have a check you can make for reaction time? You're going to be dodging bullets.
Neat.
Stay cool.
We can do that.
I imagine this requires speed.
I think you're right.
Okay. 10.
With a 10, you pull back just in time as the rest of you see, like the kind of fast bullets that you almost don't think are real sometimes, because it almost sounds like just a single solid noise, and then you realize a stream of like 6 bullets have hit the far wall.
Yikes.
I think there's
Super
something
felt
there,
it.
guys.
I think we found people. They don't seem to be in much of a talking mood, though.
Seems unlikely.
in my brief glance around, was I able to at least see anything?
Yes, you were. For half a second, you saw on a pivoting arm a automated turret. It is hanging down out of the center of the ceiling in the hallway ahead.
I'll relay that to the group.
It's
So,
machine.
well, it's an automated turret.
I see. Do we have anything that can interfere with it?
I have a grenade.
I have a heavy AC weapon.
Yeah, we might. The AC is designed with augmented strength of hard 6 and 9. Includes warhammers, mallets, rams, pikes.
Or no, not a heavy AC. I have the fucking, what is it called? Signature? Heavy signature, I think.
Oh,
heavy signature.
So like a laser.
That was the wrong thing. No, I was looking
Steve
at the
runs down
weapons
all
right
the
then.
warhammers.
I got it.
I was like, wow, that sounds
Just
awesome. But
fucking
like,
Reinhardt's right
little-
into it. Just I'm
not, it sounds like you might get killed first.
Nah, it's fine.
Sounds
it's
really
fine.
cool.
But yeah, those big things are like loading weapons, right? That's like pulling out an RPG or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
something that
that's
you probably like extend, like you probably pull it out and extend it and then mount it on your shoulder kind of thing.
So yeah, do you want me to fire at it?
Yeah, just be careful because it locks on really quickly, it seems.
I will note, heavy signatures are considered ordnance, which means they can only be fired before the user moves or takes other actions, which equates to you have to get out into the hallway, plant your feet, then
And then
fire.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Because that would be the couple of
why don't-
seconds across turns, so to speak.
Why don't we toss a grenade down
Sure.
there around the corner?
The other option would be for one of us to like dash across the hall to get its attention, and then Steve can use that opportunity to get in position.
That's true too. I like the grenade idea first because that could be just the easiest way.
I will note it is on the ceiling.
Oh, it's
Yes.
a ceiling turret. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So unless you feel really good about cooking your grenades well, or you have like a sticky grenade, or like, or your grenades are so explosive they hit the ceiling, then we can talk. But like, keep that in mind.
I have a proposition.
Yes.
Could we, and continuing the tradition of destroying my grapple gun after every time we use it, could we attach the grenade to the grappling aspect and aim near the
Oh
turret?
my lord.
I look at that and I go, I think I should be able to time the grenade perfectly. I mean, this is Jeremy speaking. I have engineering weapon systems and reactors. I feel like I should be able to reasonably know exactly how long the grenade takes to explode. And since I was the one who saw the turret, estimate how long I need to hold it before I throw it.
Fair
So
enough.
what I will say in response to that is that makes this a possible check. So if you want to do that, you absolutely can. It is still
Yes.
difficult to execute. So it will still be a difficult pilot check to do that with a grenade, which is absolutely possible. I'm just saying it's difficult.
I would like to try this first before we start trying to injure ourselves.
Agreed. I would just say err on the side of throwing it too soon rather than holding on to it too long.
Well, we will see. I'm going to make this roll with difficulty.
Okay. You're going to use one of your uses of frag grenades here.
18.
And that's with the difficulty. Very nice.
Wow.
Dyne follows up on his supposition that, yeah, you can do that, and then instantly shows you that he can do that. As you see him flip off the pin of a grenade, as you watch the little like part where you hold it, just like throw away onto the ground, and he waits, and then almost a little bit longer than you're comfortable with standing this close to him, waits one more second and then throws. And then you hear an explosion down the hallway.
Dyne's just built differently, apparently.
He's just holding onto the grenade, turns around to Astro, hot potato!
I just kind of like juggle it in my hands and it blows up. All right. Well, let's. We didn't see it blow up the turret since we're along the wall, so let's just dash across. And with that, Astro will dash past the open. Wait, were we? Was this sort of like a T, like a hallway going off to the right, and we could keep going forward, or was this a corner? I forget now.
This is more of a T. You would have been heading down a T. So yes, there is another side beyond this hallway.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna dash past the opening.
Yeah, you dash past the opening, and as far as you're aware, nothing happened.
Seems fine. I think it's good.
I think it's dead,
As you cautiously poke out at that point and see a large scorch mark across the ceiling and some rubble on the ground.
Very nicely done, Dyne.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
No problem.
All right.
I just realized you're good at cooking a lot of things. Pizza and grenades.
Practice. Lots and lots of practice.
You have to be really careful with cooking the grenade practice, though, because you don't got a lot of opportunities to mess that one up.
Lots and lots of practice.
I mean,
That's
look,
why I have no
Artemis has a lot
arms.
of interest in explosives. Okay, I probably know more than I should.
But you move further into the station. You continue trying to follow the signs of evacuation. And that is when you hit the next obstacle in getting deeper into the station. You feel at this point you're starting to crack into the more core parts of the station. But as you do, you reach an area where there are a lot of ways that you can go. It like spreads out, right? It becomes a lot less hallway to door, and starts becoming more open areas, less systematized. It's a lot more confusing. It's a lot more, oh, there's a door on that side, but even though it looks like it would go forward, it kind of opens into a closet. It's a lot more having to figure out how to get in. This area is designed more like living space, and I'm sure it makes perfect sense to the people who live here who know what these spaces are meant to be, but especially in the unfurnished version that you're walking through right now, without knowing what these spaces are meant to be for later, you're like, I don't know, this could be someone's personal office, or they might put a toilet in here later. I don't know what this room's supposed to be. Yeah. And you start to lose yourself in the design. It starts to become like you're walking through the interior of an office building that is not any longer like military rows. How do you determine where to keep going? Keep in mind that as you've penetrated this deep, you're starting to run into areas that are all fit for habitation. You're starting to penetrate the core habitable, like, command areas of the station.
Okay. So it's a bit more like an office building sort of environment, you're saying? Just incomplete.
Yeah, like office spaces and things like that. Yeah, it is more unevenly spaced out. Like you'll run into what could be offices, what could be bunk rooms, what could be a commissary for all you know, but like you don't have anything to guide you in what it's actually
Is it
meant
because
for.
like a lot of these areas are still like not complete or under construction, so I just don't know what a
Yeah,
lot of
you don't have
these rooms.
anything to tell you where they are meant to go, right? So like
Yeah.
there's no like guidelines on the walls and stuff, and
Yeah, okay.
you're like, okay, I walked into this big room and I thought this would lead me deeper, but I think that's a fish tank on the wall. And I don't know why that would be here, so I don't know where to go from here now.
Okay, and we're sort of like in the middle of this being a powered up area, so I don't think there's much to follow as far as like power flow anymore. Everything is
Everything is powered, if not furnished. But you are still running into there aren't people here yet. You know there are people in the station somewhere, but they're not in the area you're in currently. You don't know where. How do you find out, or how do you get past, or come up with a intent
So,
and
I think
way forward?
my main at this juncture, then my main goal is to find something I can hack into to download more information about the station. So if
Absolutely.
there's a
Yep.
terminal on the wall, or if there looks like there's like an office room with computers, that's what I'm going to be looking for.
I was trying to remember the name of the thing I was thinking of. Have any of you seen Lockdown Protocol, the game?
Sounds familiar.
No.
It is like a social deduction, you know, one person's
I have seen
a
this,
traitor
yeah.
or whatever, right? That, but it's it's on a space station. It's more 3D. So I'm gonna post to you guys what the overhead looks like for how it's laid out. Okay, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where it's no longer like hallways with direct rooms. There's more open areas. Like you can walk into office areas and be like, why is there not a door on the other side of this room? Like, why can't I can see there from here. Why can't I get there from here? Stuff going on.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of has this like floor plan, like sprawling floor plan going on, you know.
Right.
It's not like a linear, you know,
But it's like imagine a bunch of these types of areas on top of, stacked next to, and stapled to the sides of, right? So it's like it's very sprawling. It's like walking into a mall you've never been in before.
Yeah. All right. So Astro is just gonna, like I said, you know what he's looking for. He's just gonna start like systematically going through rooms. Like he'll check the closest room to him. You know, if that leads to somewhere else, he might go down. You know, to see where it ends up, sort of like a depth first search. Actually, no, he should do breadth first search so he doesn't get lost.
Yeah, I would say breadth seems better here.
Yeah, so he's going to like check all adjoining rooms to where he is, you know, see if there's anything that includes what he's looking for. If not, he's going to kind of check the next level of rooms. But he's always going to come back to his starting point. That way he doesn't get lost.
Okay, absolutely. I'm going to let you make a check to determine if you can find functioning systems in this thorough search. You will have accuracy on whatever skill you attempt to use.
I think this is just me investigating.
Okay, absolutely.
Because I'm just taking my time doing it very thoroughly and carefully. Accuracy, you say?
Yep.
I rolled an 18.
Okay. You do eventually find what appears to be some sort of system terminal. It is down. It is shut down. You think that as they retreated and backed away from this area, they shut it down. But you know it should be hooked into the system. What do you do?
Okay. It is so it's a terminal. It's been shut down. I will attempt to turn it back on or rehook it if that seems like something I can do.
Okay. It does not take you much but time to do like the turning it back on bit.
Yeah.
But as you do, you realize it is like as far locked as it can get, right? It is like just booting up into the system. Like it is not connected to anything. It is not logged in. Like you have to figure out how to do everything with it.
Yeah.
Which is a starting point, but I'm just saying like it's not even connected to the space station network right now. And you're not logged in and like nothing is available currently.
Okay. I think it's if I can hook into it, I think it's subjectivity enhancement sweep time.
You can find a slot to use your
Yeah.
subjectivity. Yep, absolutely.
All right. He pulls out a cable out of his cybernetic implant in his wrist, and he plugs in, and his eyes sort of go blank because whenever he does this, he kind of transfers his consciousness into like this like virtual reality sort of system of uh, like interacting with this alternate reality interface that's being directly fed into his brain.
Absolutely.
And what he's going to do first is figure out how to get himself sort of like administrative privileges, and then he can work from there. So that's sort of his goal.
Okay. This is a pretty locked down base. You can make a check here, and you can do so because you're good at this kind of thing, but this will be a difficult check.
Okay. Fair enough. So I'll add one difficulty. Oh, even with difficulty, rolled a 22.
Good
With
Lord.
a 22, you are able to give yourself administrative privileges. In fact, you're able to fully get the computer linked back up to the system. Now, they were smart in that this is a peripheral system. They have removed its ability to activate or function or control anything more centrally located than it is, but they can no longer stop you from doing anything the computer would normally be able to do.
Yeah. And what would what's the purpose of this terminal?
You can get layouts for the area you're currently in. You can determine what the areas were originally meant for. You can see plans for the construction. You can activate the various life support systems in the area. You can unlock and lock local doors. You can see security cameras in the local section, things of like that.
Great. Okay. So I think first of all, let's get layouts of the area, and kind of download that into my like integrated systems in my hard suit. So I have a map to reference, and then I'd also like to pull out like the plans for this area. Like what kind of buildings or rooms were they planning to construct here?
Yeah, I mean, you get everything from like maintenance to cafeteria rooms to office rooms to information like processing channel rooms. You can tell where like a local server was going to be set up. You can tell where storage was going to be. You can even see where one of the rooms in this area connects to a large belt-like system that is supposed to go through the station for like delivering supplies and resources amongst the base. You can see there's one of the cafeterias is specifically designated a pizzeria. I'm not joking. It is. Yeah. There is a pizzeria here. And there is even like you can see the next, like there is a smaller room like the room you're in, and you're like, oh, the room I'm in is kind of like the security room. There are 2 security rooms in this area. So you see another small room similar to the kind of room you're in that's like on the other side of this like little block of areas. It's like, oh, that's another security room. Things like that. You're like, oh, in between this section and that section, there's bunks, like bunk rooms and stuff like that.
Is there and so this is sort of like I'm getting a layout for the specific section I'm in. Is there sort of like a larger general map, sort of almost like what a metro map would look like? Like these are all the sections. This is how you get to them.
Yeah, there absolutely is. You get a map like from the Metro or from like Soma or something like that, where it's like Sector A leads to Sector B and Sector B leads to Sector C, like that kind of stuff. Take the red line to get from 4 to 5.
Okay, yeah.
You absolutely can get that for the station, totally.
Okay, so yeah, I'll download that as well. I'll say might be interesting to check out this sort of like delivery room or storage processing room where this conveyor belt comes in. Maybe it's just so they can bring in, bring in supplies and furniture as they build up this section. But maybe it has something to do with what's happening at large on Lumir. I kind of want to go check that out.
Let's go.
All right. I have. I looked at the map, so I'm gonna guide us to that conveyor belt.
Yeah, you see that in the wall, like in the walls on the long side of this room, there are like large, like input-output kind of holes in the wall, so to speak, that like conveyors, like ends of conveyors come into this room. Like full conveyor belt doesn't travel the length of this room, but like a couple conveyor exit/entrances are in holes on the side of the room where you could like set something on it and then, have it go in, so to speak. Or, you know what I mean? It's like conveyor belt stations, basically.
Sure.
Next to each one of them is a small computer that seems to be for operating that piece of conveyor itself. There are large, like, shelving units that have some very rudimentary supplies, things like you saw in that storage room. But now, as you're getting deeper into the station, you also see things like food supplies, giant bags of rice, things like protein and stuff like that. You see like quickcrete kind of substances on stuff and like on different shelving units.
Yeah. This largely seems to be just like a residential section we're in. Like this is where a lot of like living spaces. Am I right to think that?
I think that's a reasonable assumption to make from the information you have.
But so far we haven't seen any people.
I was gonna ask, is there a like evacuation plan in there?
Well, that's what I was sort of wondering. That's why I downloaded the more general map. I wanted to see if maybe there is like a path to the emergency drop pods or something like that, escape pods.
Well, I'm going to say you didn't think to look for that while you were there.
No, I
You
didn't
could
look
go
at that.
look for that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we should see. I did want to check though, real quick, by the conveyor belt stations. There's little computers. If on further investigation, do they just look like they're purely for like functioning the conveyor belt, like press
They
this button
do.
to move it forward?
They look very stripped down.
Okay.
They look like they are for accessing and operating the interstation cargo transport line.
Okay. He's interested in maybe finding like some sort of like manifest saying this is all the stuff that got delivered to this section and so on. But that might be, we might have better luck finding that where I think you said there's like a local server um, somewhere in this section. That's probably where
Yep.
that sort of information would get stored. Let's go back first to the security office and from what Evelene was suggesting, let's see if I can, if there's any sort of evacuation plan or if there are escape pods on the station or like safe rooms um, that, maybe we can go to.
All right.
Sounds
As you
good.
all head back to the security room at Evelene's suggestion, Astro, you check. And yeah, it was just a thing you didn't think to look for. But there are evacuation plans built into the system, such that as you examine them, you actually are pretty confident. Okay, they trained for this. They have plans for like what if the station gets taken over and stuff like that. It has plans for fallback positions within the station, and this is where you start to see the term being used for the central citadel. It appears that there is a hardened center of this space station that is much more hard to crack than the rest of the station, that is meant to be when everything else falls. It is almost meant to be simultaneously the black box of this station and also the essential core of this
Yeah.
place. So it seems they have fallen back to what they consider the central citadel. There are plans in this for if you cannot make it there, or if there are enemies between you and getting to the citadel, like local panic rooms, essentially. So you do also get a readout of where local panic rooms or where local shelter in place rooms in the space station are as well. So those do exist all throughout the station in various locations, but you also get a very specific explanation of like, this is the routes you take to get back to the center areas. Once you get past like this line, if you don't see any people, then it's an emergent. You know what I mean? It's like procedures for recognizing and understanding you're currently in an emergency and what to do when that happens.
Well, this is perfect. This is exactly what they would have followed when the space station was attacked. So according to this, we can follow these instructions to get to at least get to the central citadel. Probably getting inside is another matter. I'm guessing people stationed here have probably like security badges or something that might let them in. Is there anything in the plans about like actually getting yourself inside the central citadel?
I mean, everyone would have some sort of authorization to move
Yeah.
through these areas. Absolutely.
So what we can do is maybe we check out some of these panic rooms, and if we can find someone, we can coerce them into taking us to the central citadel area and getting us inside. thoughts?
I mean, that sounds like a plan, if
Prayers?
anything.
All right. He checks the map and marks some of the closer ones. Let's check out these ones first. Are there any in the set, like the specific section we're in?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely there are.
Yeah. So let's go to the first one and see what that looks like.
All right. And as you head there, we're going to go ahead and call the session there because I realize now that we're headed towards the longer end of the sessions and there's a fair amount left to go. So I don't want to get you stuck in the next big things that are going to happen here. So we'll pick up from there next session.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
We'll
so
see if
scared.
you can. We'll see if you can find any people in here, find out what they're doing, and see how to get deeper. I'm sure it'll all work out just fine.
I'm sure
Oh,
it'll be
yeah.
agreeable to our request to get to the Central Citadel.
Of course.
Yeah, anything called the Central Citadel sounds like, they'll
Centralized.
let us. Yeah, centralized. Sounds
Perfectly
like
normal,
something.
accessible to the public.
Sounds very accessible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, citadels are gathering places.
You okay, Todd?
I don't know.
I think Todd's done for the
I think
day.
I'm having a stroke.
By definition, a Citadel is a fortress. Typically on hot.
We
But
don't.
that
We don't
you gather
use,
there,
We don't use the F word here. Okay, it's a citadel.
Fine.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Buenos noches.